Get the cheese to Sickbay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
I remember back in the days of the designer diary of Andrew Parks, before I had even played a game of Star Trek Attack Wing, he talked about elite talents and how they were going to define the game. He talked about Corbin might maneuver and cheat death for James T. Kirk. He talked about engage for Captain Picard. Now, obviously, we've come a long way since then, and we've come a long way in terms of those upgrades associating with those captains. But the names of elite talents tend to have something to do with the captains of the packs that these talents come from. I'm not taking a narrative review aspect to this, but understand that this episode of Get the Cheese to Sickbay, specifically Federation elite talents, will attempt to have as much to do with making the cards fit the narrative aspect as it will making them work well in Star Trek Attack Wing. So, if we're here for a good long while, and I don't know what a good long while is, because it's the start of recording, that's the reasoning for the length of this episode. So we're going to dive right in, and I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to go in pack order. Quick thinking. This came on the Delta Flyer 2, so Tom Paris. Been a lot of talk about the Delta Flyer 2. That's a different episode. I think what you do is action, perform a 1, maybe a 1 or 2 sensor echo, even if your ship is not cloaked. Get rid of the discard, add it to your action bar, and allow it to work while not cloaked. Perhaps bring the cost of this down, maybe make it a 3-point upgrade. Being able to do sensor echo actions, even on a non-cloaked ship, it's power, but it is still action intensive. Yeah, I think that's thematic and good at the same time. Alright, Tactical Alert, NX, Jonathan Archer. I don't think this one needs a change. It's a good effect for 2 points. It's certainly not overcosted. The only other thing I could add to it is letting this card also spend a battle station in place of a target lock for secondary weapons. So that could be something. Full Alert. This was an OP prize, so no specific captain, but kind of overall Federation. For 5 points, a one-time effect to get all those actions, and an Ox. It's good, but it's not great. The only other thing I wish it would do would be to allow you to also get a target lock. I guess that has to let you perform a target lock action. You can't just place a token. So that could be tricky, but you could write wording to make that happen. So I would like to add target lock to that effect, and then I think I've got a card that I might take at 5 points. It's still iffy. It is a bunch of actions for 1 point. It is a bunch of actions, well, not really actions, a bunch of tokens at one time for 5 points, and that's pretty expensive. I think what might work better is something that we saw later on with I think it's Sakharov data, where he gets a pool of tokens and he can pull from them 1 per round. Then he doesn't have to take the Ox, or if you want, you could have all 4, and then when you take the 4th, you get the Ox power. That could work. Then you place the token for free. You don't have the whole wording stipulation of free action. I know I'm rewriting a whole bunch of stuff, but it would be another interesting effect. Red Alert. This is a 2-point talent, another prize card, so something that doesn't have a specific effect, but red alert is said all the time. Cool effect. I like it. It works for any time that you're going to need battle stations for offense and defense. What I'd like to see is this expand to target locks. So when you spend a battle station token or a target lock, you can do that. Then you have a target lock for acquiring the weapon and for quality on the weapon. Or give us a whole new card that works that way for weapons. But this card doing either would be the preferable solution. Next up, we have Infiltration. This came on the Robinson, so DS9 crew in the midst of the Dominion War. It's a nice trade-off, but I don't like it as an action. How about at the start of the combat phase, discard this card? Then you get all the advantages of moving, and none of the drawbacks of going up against an opponent with a high skill fleet. Because the problem now is, if you move, say you put this on like a skill 7 captain, you could even move a skill 9 or 10 captain up, and they're not within range 2 when you perform the action, and then they're right next to you when you go into combat. I'd like this performed at the start of combat, and then it works better. It's a cool one-time effect. I like it, but it should be just like every other attack negation, except a little bit more flexible on that timing. Computer analysis. This was on the Sakharov, so Fed shuttle. Data was the captain on that pack, so something go with Data. I'm not going to complain too much. This is a really good talent when you combine it with the right types of upgrades. It's a little pricey, but still, it's 4 points to clear a whole bunch of stuff, and that can be a fantastic ability. Up next, we have Engage. This is what came on the Enterprise D with Picard. Fairly thematic to Picard. It's not truly perfect, but the effect is nice enough. This could honestly work without an action, and just take the Ox. So, do a green, immediately perform an additional green. You'd skip your action step to do an extra move. It's like an action, but I don't know. Engage seems fine to me. Alright, next we have Standby Battle Stations, which is kind of Fed TOS filler. 4 points. The first thing I would do is change the timing to allow for greater flexibility. During the combat phase actually isn't all that flexible. I would say during the modify attack or modify defense dice step, you can do this. Or maybe even during the roll attack or roll defense dice step, you can do this. Then you've got your choice there. The problem with restricting it to only ships that have battle stations on the action bar is it leaves me wondering why I would ever buy this card, because I can just take a battle station action to begin with. I think that this card needs to get rid of the discard and just be a constant effect that I can replace a token. Perhaps that needs to have some downfall, maybe an Ox power, and if that's the case, then I might do it. But 4 points for this card just doesn't work, and I think the fix is to make it repeatable and to lower the cost. I want to make it better and do that twice so that it actually works. Alright, our next two cards are the talents that came on the original Defiant, Cisco's Defiant. So hopefully those hold up. Attack Pattern Delta, 3 points. How about letting me pick and choose my defense dice to reroll? I understand, bad dice rolls happen, but give me a defensive target lock. Also, let's switch this over to time tokens, because it's just some time to use the same move. Same ship adapts, different ships, they don't really know what's coming. Pick and choose dice, we're good. Attack Pattern Omega, 3 points. I'm okay with that. I'd like to see this also come with a continuous effect token that says your opponent must roll their die twice for every Warp Core Breach damage card. Because I think that adds an element of risk. It gives you a better reason to take this as a talent. And it gives you a reason to actually want to use it to give them that crit. Because a Warp Core Breach, while cool when it happens, is so unlikely, 1 out of 8. But if they have to roll twice, they're risking a lot. And it's going to come down to the choice that they have to make of, ooh, I should probably eject this because I don't want to keep pushing my luck twice every round. Alright, now Kirk's talents, all 3 of them. First, Cheat Death, 5 points. Yeah, Cheat Death's still fantastic. It feels overpriced, but it's also, you get to live. And yeah, that's really good. So then we come up to Cochrane Deceleration Maneuver, which is also 5 points. The effect's cool. What I would like Cochrane Deceleration to be is if you reveal a 1 forward, you may discard this card to perform a 1 come about instead. And then if you do so, place an Ox Power token beside your ship. Then it doesn't take up an action. Also, it needs to cost not 5 points. It needs to cost like 3 points. And then you're good. Yeah, I know that takes away free action captains, but honestly, that's not such a terrible thing. And then it also cleans up the physical logistics of it. I could also see expanding it to a 1 forward or bank. That could be something. What would be cool is a 1 reverse and doing a 1 reverse come about. So you actually end up behind where you were and facing the other direction. And that would be almost an impossible move for a ship to pull off, but that would probably have to take 2 Ox Power. But boy, if you could do that in the game, that would be something. The other talent of Kirk's is Corbin Might Maneuver. It's okay. It suffers from the problem of, oh, I can't shoot you? Fine, I'll just shoot target B or C. This is only powerful if this card's the only one on the board. And that's rare to see. So I get it. Corbin Might Maneuver is more of a mission card than an OP card. And so it does have its place. But since it is an action discard, it should go down to 4 points. Alright. Self-destruct sequence. 5 points. This talent is bad. We need to fix it. That's why we're here. So, first off, it's thematic. But that doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it good at all. For game purposes, I think that you should still be able to attack because you haven't truly diverted power. Actually, I think this card can work exactly as is with one small change. It's at the end of this activation phase. After all ships have moved. Destroy your ship. It gives high skill captains a chance to move, but nobody gets to change their dial. You can be the bomb if you want to be. It's tricky, but it works. It's not perfect, but I think it's an improvement that would at least allow the card to be playable. And sometimes we have to go for that to balance with the thematicism. So we'll go with that. Destroy ourselves at the end of this activation phase, not next activation phase. Because I don't want to spend a whole round just being a sitting duck. Because that's what this card is. You become priority target 1 so that you don't go. If this card said you cannot attack or be attacked this round, that might work. But it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. I don't want to go to that fix. Also, since you're blowing up, probably more of a 3-point card than a 5-point card. Just a thought there. Alright. The needs of the mini. This is okay. My problem with it is that you have to have already taken damage for this to ever be effective. And once you've taken some damage, you're probably going to take more damage. And there's always the possibility that you take fatal damage in one round and you never see another action, in which case this card is completely useless. But I don't want to make it a reactive discard, because if it's a reactive discard, I think it's way too good. We could make it a reactive discard. So after any attack, we could discard this card, place an Aux power token, and of course the crew with a SP cost of 3 or higher, to repair up to, say, 2 shields for 4 points. I'd be on board with that. The crew is kind of a sunk cost. This is cost for the shields coming back. I'd buy that. That would be both thematic and a fair thing. Although I may have just introduced a whole bunch of timing conflicts. But it being an action still does work. I know some people out there swear by the needs of the mini. So if you do, more power to you. To me, it's okay. I'm not saying it's terrible. Dispersal Pattern Sierra. This is a talent from the new Enterprise D, so kind of more late season, next generation. Photon torpedoes already have enough problems. I want this to just give me a little more oomph. I feel like this could have just been the card to let me target 2 or 3 ships. Maybe 2 at normal, 3 at -1 each. And that would have been enough for 5 points. Because I'm paying 5 points. I'm putting a huge investment in. And it's a one-time effect. But, yeah, so that's my fix. Bump my dice up 1. Just 1 level. Alright, Enterprise E talents now. Fire at will. It's a bit pricey for 5 points. I love the effect. It's just that extra cost because you do have to bring a secondary weapon, and then you have to have 2 ships that you can legally target. Maybe that secondary weapon is a rear firing weapon, but it's still a tricky thing to pull off, and 5 points is just scary. The other talent, make it so. It's cool. It's not 5 points cool. 2 points, maybe 3 points. 2 points, it becomes like the necessary link in every combo ever. But 3 points, you actually have to start making some choices. So, yeah, we'll go with 3 points for make it so. And then Picard's other saying is actually important. Faint for 4 points. This was Excelsior. I think for 4 points you can get away without this being a discard. Because you're paying 4 points to essentially double scan, without the benefits of having a scan token. So that's my suggestion. Get rid of the discard. And it's a little bit of a trick. They don't quite see you coming. Maybe you can pull that off multiple times in a battle. You probably need to put time tokens on it for thematicism. 2 time tokens? Every other turn? 3 time tokens. That would make more sense. That'll work. Improvise. Hathaway. That sounds like something Riker had to do with the broken down Hathaway. 5 points for that. Doesn't seem very good. Seems like worse than a target lock. Except it can work on defense. How about set? Set a number of dice equal to the number of cards you disabled with the ability, including this card. I'd like that. That might be worth 5 points. Probably not worth 5 points, but it might be. I might start considering that. Yeah. Disable this set dice. Maybe you can't set attack dice to crits. You can only set hits. You do that before you roll. Flag Officer. This came with the Intrepid, the Constitution class. So, Martok 8 for 1 time. Good, but definitely not 4 points good. Try 2 points? 1 point? Say like 2 points. 2 points to do this once? Yeah, go with that. Ooh, I know. 1 point may only be equipped to an Admiral. That would be both thematic and fun. Plus, pretty good. Defy Orders. Well, that seems like it could have been on any Federation captain ever, but it came on the Lakota with Erica Benteen. Here's what's wrong with this card. If you have an enemy ship in your forward firing arc, you want to keep them there, and you want to attack them. If you do not have an enemy ship in your forward firing arc, you want to make an additional maneuver and get them into your forward firing arc, and then attack them. So, here's what we do. At the end of the activation phase, after all ships have moved, if you do not have an enemy ship in your forward firing arc, you may discard this card to immediately perform an additional green or white maneuver. And then we're done. Get rid of the attack cancellation, your own attack cancellation portion of this card, and make it work better. And for that ability, we make it cost 3 points, not 4. That is also a playable card. Is it as good as Forest? It's different. Is it as good as any other additional maneuver? It's different. It's conditional. It works. Prefix Code. This should really go with Mr. Spock, but it came on the Phoenix. If I remember my Wrath of Khan correctly, the Prefix Code took out all their shields. About action, discard this card, target a ship at range 1 to 2, disable all shields on the target ship, and then place an Ox Power token beside your ship. I'm fine with that. A little bit like Projected Stasis Field, but different. Hey, to make it a little more thematic, you may only target a ship of the same faction as your ship with this upgrade. And then we knock a point off it. Make it a 4-point card with that. Okay with that. Alright, Picard Maneuver. From the Stargazer. Fantastic ability. Is it worth 5 points? Yeah, it is. Is it good in every single situation? No, it's not. But in some, it is. So, yeah. Great card. Disobey Orders. From the Sutherland. Data's ship in the Klingon Civil War. This is a card that suffers from at any time. How about during the roll attack dice step, before you roll your dice, attack defense dice, something that gives you a little more flexibility, or just have a TO that's understanding of that. Also, how about not a discard, just a static effect to be able to do that. Maybe put a time token on it, or 2 time tokens on it. That would work. I could have that. 2 points, a couple of time tokens, do this, then works every other round if you want it. Basically, you do it, you gotta wait a round to get it back. Federation Task Force. This came on the Thunderchild, a ship we don't know tons about, just kind of saw it on screen in First Contact. So, not a ton backstory there. How about no discard? I'm fine with target up to 2 friendly ships. Your ship, target ships, can immediately perform a target lock action, free action. It's fine. It's a bit like Kira, the Bajoran captain, and that much is good. It's 5 points for extra action economy. It doesn't need to be a discard. You're paying for it. You're paying to do more. That's what an elite talent should be. Intercept. It's an interesting effect. It's a unique effect. I like the effect, but I don't like 5 points for it. I think it's a 3-point card. I think it's something that works well, but it's not something I want to pay a lot for. So, yeah, just drop the points a little, and we're good. Persistence. You know, it's a chance. It's random as all get out. But it can be some additional dice. But I would like to see this cost, again, more like 3 points rather than 5, because you have no idea if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and a couple extra dice, you still only have 50-50 odds. It at best adds 2 hits, but that's unlikely. Most of the time it's probably going to add 1. 1 extra hit is probably worth 2 or 3 points. The Borg case probably can't be factored into that too much. If anything, that's why I'm saying it should cost 3 instead of 2. But yeah, 5 It's just overkill. Galaxy Wing Squadron. This was from the Venture, a Galaxy-class ship. At the very least, this should target your own ship, so that a Galaxy-class ship can actually run it, because now you have to run a non-Galaxy class, and then get this. Also, it shouldn't be an action, it shouldn't be a discard. This should just bolster Galaxy-class ships. This should be a static. Your ship and all friendly Galaxy-class ships within range 1 to 2 gain +1 attack die. This card may only be equipped to a Galaxy-class ship. If they'd done that, it would probably be worth 4 points. Maybe 5. Maybe 5. But as it is, nope. Nope, sorry. So yeah, that's my fix. I think it's a good fix. Sacrifice. Setting 2 dice is okay, but it's not great. And for 5 points, I want my talent to be great. Best case is that this is 2 defense dice being set to evades, or 2 attacks being set to crits. That's not worth a 5-point, 1 use, and the disabling of my captain. Because then, if I live, I'm moving next round at skill 0. Then I spend my action to re-enable, so I have no quality next round. And I don't have this to get me any more quality. Time tokens on my captain? Maybe? Let me set all my dice. I could set all my dice. That's a big price. How about discard this upgrade? Discard my captain. Set all my dice. Even set all my dice for the remainder of the round. Or for 1 attack and all my defenses for the round. That way I can't abuse it with multiple attacks. But that would be very powerful. How would that be abused? You'd put a generic captain, you'd put this on an admiral, and you'd run like transphasics, and you'd set 10 crits. So that would abuse it. Okay, you can only set dice for your primary attack. Primary weapon attack. That seems a little less abusable. That's still good. Or how about you can only set 1 crit and the rest hits? Yeah, I get setting 10 dice on transphasics would still be very nasty. But yeah, maybe primary weapon only is the way to go. There's still some crazy things you can do with primary weapons, but okay, actually I think the answer here is you may only set dice equal to your primary weapon value. That is probably the most controlled thing. That is your printed primary weapon value. Very little enhances that. Type 8 upgraded don't even enhance that. So for ships that are rolling 5 dice, they can still only set 3. And that makes it good, but it doesn't make it broken. Alright, last couple of cards. Preemptive Strike. This came on the Yeager. So it's an action attack. What I don't like is that you're rolling 3 attack dice and not primary weapon attack. Also, what might be better is if the defender only got to roll defense dice equal to the number of hit or crits that you actually rolled. So a little bit like Zindi Weapon 0, but slightly different. I mean, this is only a 2-point card, so I don't want to stress test it. I don't want to abuse it, but I also want to let it be something that can do some damage, because you're taking it. It is a talent slot for you. Yeah, I'm willing to kind of up the ante on it a bit. I'm going to talk about Delta Shift. I know it's a question mark upgrade, but I'm not going to do a special show on question mark upgrades. I like it. It's very playable. The problem is it's overpriced. It's good effect. I like that it saves crew. It keeps you going. It's thematic to what Jellicoe did on the D when he introduced Delta Shift. It came on the Cairo, so it all works. But it shouldn't cost 5 points. How about 3? Maybe even 4, because it doesn't take a slot. But we'll go with that. Task Force. This is the actual talent from the Cairo. Pros. You choose a different faction whenever you want. You're not locked in, unlike Picard 8. when he hates. The downside, it doesn't let your own ship benefit, and it really should. If you are leading the task force, you should benefit from it. So immediately we add that. Your ship and all friendly ships within range 1 to 2 gain and then I think it's a good card. Plus 5 points for giving out all those dice. It's worth it. And our last talent comes on the Valiant, and that is Red Squad. So this is kind of what I was suggesting Full Alert become. And I guess I'd forgotten that Red Squad was very similar to it. I know, viewers, you were going, but David, it's right there. Yeah, I don't plan all of these out ahead of time. Sorry. Red Squad is pretty good talent. When you set it up right, and by right I mean put 4 crew on, and then bring this talent, you're getting a lot of extra actions. And it's placing of tokens. It's not even performing the actions, so that much is really good. I don't see a need to change this, except maybe make it 1 less point, but even that seems unnecessary. It's a good talent, and there's a lot here to like. So, Federation talents. There's a lot of good. There's a fair bit of bad. But even the bad doesn't feel really bad. These are better as a whole than Klingon talents. I know that's not saying a lot, but Federation have some great talents, and then they have some mediocre, and of course they have bad because it's bad. But they're a pretty clean bill of health, and that is surprising to me. They don't have a ton that needed fixing, just things that need some improvement, and I like that. That's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for toughing it out. And until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care, guys.